What is up, everyone? The Nintendo Direct just came out, and I have counted 85 new features, like totally new things that we have not seen in video, in gameplay before. We've seen a couple things in pictures, a couple things we've speculated, but this Direct had so many awesome things. I'm gonna go right into it and list every single thing. Here you go. The very first new thing we see in the Direct is very similar to what we seen earlier when you select an enemy to make them big or give them wings. This shows how you'll be changing the semi-solids instead of shaking them. In a similar way, you will just be picking from a menu option. This is the slightly modified course bot screen for when you are opening up a level to play it. This is the new course ID format. Hey, look at that, no zeros. This is a new sound effect that shows people jumping and cheering at the bottom, kind of like in a concert. While this isn't new, it's pretty awesome that Nintendo showed homage to the Mecha Bowzilla. Here we see in 3D world that you can climb up the trees and bounce off the top of them. Here's a small little detail, skinny pipes. Not really sure if you can go into them. Maybe you have to be small, or maybe they're just for aesthetics, but still pretty cool. Here we see how you turn a Goomba into a Goombrat, and these are basically the same thing except that Goombrats don't walk off the edges. This shows us that the on-off switches can enable the tracks to change, which is really awesome. Also, the on-off switches can change the direction of a conveyor belt. The seesaw was from the original trailer, but we only saw a little bit of it, and here we can see that it tilts pretty far but not all the way vertical, so Mario can always stand on it no matter how far it goes. These are new swinging claws, which look absolutely awesome. You can jump into them and swing off of them, presumably by pressing jump. One thing that I'm not entirely sure of here is how this Goomba is let go, like what mechanism is used to actually make it let go. If you have any ideas, comment below. Here we can see how to adjust the water levels as well as the speed, so it seems kind of like an auto scroller type setup where there's a slow, medium, and fast water level speed. And here we can see that you can also make the lava rise. They finally confirmed it, vertical levels are a thing. Now this is obviously going to be in the entire sub area, so you can't go from vertical to horizontal in the same area. However, this is really awesome because we don't know how tall it can go, but it's very likely it can go pretty high up. This shows a really neat way to close off rooms by putting all of the blocks straight vertically up, and it basically makes it so that you can't see outside the room. We saw bonsai bills in all of the previous trailers, but this is really cool. It shows that you can make them go in the 4 different directions. And also make a homing bonsai bill. This dry bones shell is so freaking awesome. As you can see, it comes out of a pipe and you jump into it. You can also collapse it to make you briefly invincible and also jump on lava. This thing is awesome. This here is a little more expanded version of the coins that we've seen in the previous trailer, where we have a 10, a 30, and a 50 coin. We have a new lightning sound effect, and some crazy looking ninja sound effect, as well as some sort of a bursting type of sound effect, and a sound effect that shows some lamps that kind of float down from above. The sound seems to be somewhat Asian, although it's kind of hard to tell over the talking of the narrator.
In Super Mario Maker 2.
This appears to be some sort of a pig sound effect, but the pig sound is very hard to hear. I don't really hear it. It doesn't seem obvious.
Not an enemy, or perhaps.
And here's a pretty cool horror sound effect, which gives a filter and just generally seems very intense and a little scary.
With something more sinister.
Something that everybody was screaming about, we have co-op level building. Here we see some clear objectives, which apparently there are a whole bunch of options and you can pick from that are required in order to pass the level. This part here demonstrates a pretty cool thing where you have to kill all the dry bones, and notice as soon as the last dry bones is killed, that's when the axe is able to be touched. This here shows the clear condition where you have to be Big Mario in order to finish the level. And here are some more clear conditions where you have to reach the goal without taking damage, reach the goal without landing after leaving the ground, so this essentially seems like a don't jump level, hitting all of the 1-ups, hitting all of the hammer bros, as well as some other enemies. We saw these twisters in the first trailer, although it was unclear if the twister enemy himself actually hurt you, and it looks like he does not. Here we see some icicles that we'd seen in some previous promotion in the pictures, but we actually see them live, and it's pretty cool that if you pass by them, they shake and will fall. And it looks like we have some diagonal conveyor belts in addition to slopes. These look pretty strange and can probably make for some pretty interesting levels. Here's the red Yoshi that we've seen before in video and pictures, and it's confirmed he definitely spits fire. So parachutes themselves are not new, but what I noticed here is that the dry bones fish is here, and this is not in a water theme, so I thought that was a little odd. Also, I noticed that the Thwomp in the Super Mario 1 theme actually has a resting face now instead of constantly having his teeth showing. They have a story mode here, which seems kind of neat, but they don't actually explicitly say that this unlocks anything, so I'm kind of struggling to find a reason why some of the better players are going to even want to play this mode. Now, if they do have some unlockables, then absolutely that'd be a great reason. We knew there were sideways Thwomps based on the previous box art, but it's cool to see it in motion. Here they demonstrate the 4 new themes, which all look pretty cool. We have desert, snow, forest, and the sky. Here we see that you can put bosses on parachutes, as evidenced by what looks like Boom Boom being on a parachute. This moon feature is absolutely absurd. It has so many cool things to it. To start off, if you have the moon and you hit the moon instead of the sun, it actually kills all of the enemies that are on screen. In the night version of the regular theme, they say that Goombas float. In the underground theme, everything is upside down. In the haunted house theme, it looks like you have just a small circle of vision. In the sky theme, everything moves super slow. In the desert theme, you have a gust of wind. In the snow theme, all surfaces get very, very slippery. And in the forest theme, what is usually water is turned into some dangerous purple toxic liquid. Also, it shows that some traditional items turn into potentially bad items. Now, I noticed, and you might have noticed, that in some of those videos, there was no moon flying around, and they answer that right here.
Once you've unlocked the night versions of themes, you don't have to place the moon course part to use them.
Right here, they confirm that the 3D world has a lot of different things, and so by switching to the 3D world, you will clear your previous level. And then it shows a whole bunch of the different things in this theme only. This shows a background which is not shown in any of the other themes. I don't really know if there's an equivalent version of this particular background on the other levels. This could be 3D World specific, who knows? This here shows that the tree actually changes into a desert type tree in the desert theme and likely changes into different styled tree and all the different other themes. This part here looks really cool and will create a lot of really awesome levels. You can destroy the crates as well as pick them up and throw them and then use them, especially on water and lava. This here shows a warp box, which seems to be basically kind of like a door that you jump into and takes you to a different part of the level. Here we see spike blocks, which alternate with spikes and without. And then also looks like they can be enabled with the on and off switch as well. They show us here a little bit more about the expanding snake-like hidden blocks, and that if you ground pound, it'll expand all of them at once. This part here shows us some blinking blocks, which seems pretty cool, kind of like a timed version of an on and off switch, basically, where one set turns on and one set turns off. This here shows a singular track block that you can choose its direction and make it go back and forth. And also, if you didn't notice, they show the Fire Bro and the Big Fire Bro. This here is similar to the red track block, except it only starts moving once you jump on top of it. We see here what kind of bounces, similar to bumpers, where it's like an immediate bounce. They call a mushroom trampoline, except this is far less terrible and annoying. This here was shown a little bit in a previous release date trailer, but if Mario jumps on top of the piranha, at least the head of the piranha, it will retract back. Now, in the previous trailer, it also was only on the blue piranha, so we don't know if the pink piranha creeper will retract back or if it's just the blue one. We knew about skip squeaks from a previous trailer, however, it shows here that they basically match your jump. They don't appear to actually move, although it does show them running on conveyors, so basically it seems like they stay in place, and as soon as Mario jumps, they will jump. This also shows us some sort of alternate modified version of the skip squeak, perhaps one that can't be jumped on, or who really knows. Finally, we see the Koopa Troopa car. This was like one of the biggest mysteries from the original box art, and it does not disappoint. It looks really awesome. It looks like it's going to be similar to a boot, how you jump into a boot, except that it's fast, and it destroys enemies and blocks and all sorts of things. They show us the Charvarg here, which looks really awesome. Here we see the female version of Boom Boom, which they call Pom Pom. Pom Pom was in previous Marios, and essentially she will turn into multiple versions of herself, and only one of them is the actual one. So if you try to attack the wrong one, it'll just disappear, and then the fight continues. We knew about the background Bonsai Bills, however it shows here that they can also break blocks. This here shows just some interesting boos. They don't appear like normal boos, like where they're looking at you or where they will go after you if you look away. So this could be some sort of a new enemy. I'm not really sure. Here they show the big version of the bully chasing Mario and breaking through blocks. This here shows some sort of a moving spring. It's not really clear to me if it will actually hurt you if you walk into it, but clearly jumping on top of it will bounce you up like a spring. And here we see Meowser in motion. We saw him on previous promotional box art, so it's pretty cool to actually see how he moves. The main course selection screen seems very similar, except that you can now search by game style, theme, and other things, including, if you see here, clear rate, which is pretty awesome. This isn't necessarily new, but it reconfirms that Nintendo decided to make the entire P-switches flash. Here we can see the new pause menu, which I believe this is the pause menu. It shows up top, instead of stars, they actually now have a negative review. There's the boo, and then I like it, as well as other course information on the far left side. Right here they show some stickers that you can add to levels in a similar way that you could do in the Miiverse. And this also appears to possibly be the screen that you see after you beat a level. The level detail screen appears to show most of the same information, except in the middle, it looks like the creator can put some sort of a description, which is pretty cool. They've introduced a maker profile, which appears to be very similar to the Wii U's Mii character, where you can decorate them, and it looks like you can upgrade them based on the number of medals that you have or the number of maker points. Here is the possible replacement to the 100-man game mode. As you can see up in the top left, it looks like Mario starts with 5 lives. This probably means you can change and adjust your number of lives. And they also explain that you can play endlessly, just as many levels as you can survive, and even make it into some sort of a global ranking. This here just shows the Super Mario World version of what is probably the desert theme, with some pretty cool looking semi-solids. The co-op mode is absolutely absurdly awesome. I can't even say anything. All you have to do is just watch. They show here that there's a multiplayer co-op mode and a versus mode, where in the co-op mode at least one person has to get the goal to win, whereas in versus you are racing to the goal. They also show here that once you finish a multiplayer game, you will rank up or maybe even down. This here shows what is likely an example of the co-op mode, where they are all working together to kill Bowser, and as soon as Bowser is killed, that's when the axe appears. The very last thing that they show is that apparently if you're in the same room with people who have other Switches and all have the same game, you can essentially play co-op all together. However, the rankings do not count towards your online rankings. And that is it. That is a ton of new features. This game is going to be absolutely amazing, and there's got to be more stuff too. This is very likely not everything. This game is going to be so freaking amazing. I am so hyped, and I know that everybody else is too. So definitely hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see future videos, and I'll see you guys next time.